In 2010, we welcomed a newly discovered relative into the human family. Excavations had been taking place in Denisova cave in southern Siberia, and one of the latest finds was a fragment of a pinky bone.
For tens of thousands of years, they walked the earth and then they vanished, but not without leaving a trace inside you. Denisovans, an extinct species of archaic humans, remained a complete mystery until the early 21st century. Unlike Neanderthals, who left behind full skeletons and tools, Denisovans were ghosts in the fossil record. Their entire existence was first uncovered not by bones but by DNA, a sliver of genetic code hidden inside a single pinky finger, discovered deep in Siberia's Denisova cave in 2008. They were never meant to be found. A pinky bone rewrote history. They were closer to us than we thought. What else is buried in our blood? A forgotten species, remembered in our genes. That one bone, tested with newly emerging DNA sequencing technology, revealed something astonishing. A previously unknown group of humans, distinct from both Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, yet carrying traces of both. The Denisovans had their own lineage, their own adaptations, and their own mysteries. Since then, their shadow has stretched farther than anyone imagined. For years, scientists believed Denisovans were isolated to Siberia. But in 2025, a jawbone found off the coast of Taiwan stunned the scientific world. According to reports from Reuters and the European Research Council, the fossil showed anatomical traits consistent with Denisovan DNA, suggesting they once roamed as far south as Southeast Asia. This wasn't a local species, this was a widespread human population hiding in plain sight. They weren't just survivors, they were explorers. But the Denisovans didn't live alone. They shared time and space with Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens, coexisting in overlapping territories for millennia. In fact, they interbred with both. Today, many modern humans, especially those from East Asia, Oceania, and indigenous Australian populations, still carry fragments of Denisovan DNA. Your immune system, your skin, even how your body handles altitude may bear their ancient imprint. You might be more Denisovan than you think. Yet for all they shared with us, they disappeared. No cities, no writing, no monuments, just whispers in our genes and a few scattered bones. Who were they, really? And more importantly, why did they vanish while we survived? To answer that, we must dig deeper, not into the soil, but into the code within our own blood. Stability can be strength or a fatal weakness. In the face of environmental upheaval, pathogens, and increasing contact with other hominins, Denisovans may have lacked the biological tools to keep up. Our species, Homo sapiens, developed rapidly shifting blood group traits, especially in immune-related regions. This helped us survive new diseases, handle dietary stress, and thrive in changing climates. Denisovans didn't evolve. They endured until they couldn't. The Rh factor in particular showed troubling implications. Unlike the mix seen in Homo sapiens, Denisovans carried a rare form of Rh negativity. This would later prove critical in reproductive challenges, but even on a broader scale, it hinted at long-term isolation and low population diversity, two things that spell disaster when adaptation is key to survival. The world changed. They didn't. This wasn't just bad luck, it was a genetic slow burn, one rooted in blood and bound by time, a species defined by strength, resilience, and mystery, undone by the invisible limits coded deep in their DNA. But blood doesn't just carry weakness, it carries conflict. And when species mix, sometimes biology turns against itself. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how reproduction itself may have sealed the Denisovan fate. They met, they mated, and that may have been what doomed them. Interbreeding between Denisovans and other human species wasn't rare, it was part of their story, but recent genetic findings suggest that when Denisovans mixed with Homo sapiens, something went wrong at the most intimate biological level, reproduction itself. Deep within their blood, a quiet incompatibility was unfolding, one that no stone tool or fire could fix. Life begins in the womb, but it can end there too. Not all unions are destined to survive. The cost of love? Extinction. Biology doesn't care about borders or species. When blood becomes the enemy, the key lies in the Rh factor, a tiny protein found on red blood cells. Today it's a routine part of blood typing, but for ancient humans it was life or death. Denisovans, according to the 2021 scientific report study, carried a rare form of Rh negative blood, while Homo sapiens were largely Rh positive. When an Rh negative Denisovan mother carried an Rh positive fetus, especially one fathered by a Homo sapiens male, her immune system would attack the fetus's red blood cells as if they were a virus. This is known as hemolytic disease of the newborn, HDN, a condition still known to modern medicine. Today it's preventable with a simple injection, but 50,000 years ago there was no such thing as prenatal care. Nature doesn't wait for us to catch up. The consequences? Stillbirths, infant mortality, brain damage, generational reproductive loss. And when this happened across small, isolated populations with already low genetic diversity, the effects weren't just tragic, they were existential. Fewer healthy offspring meant fewer adults. Fewer adults meant collapse. It wasn't war, it wasn't famine, it was a slow-motion biological unraveling, happening womb by womb, child by child, over centuries. The womb became a battlefield, and Denisovans kept losing. What makes this theory so compelling is its silence. Unlike a climate catastrophe or a mass extinction event, this wasn't something loud or visible. It was quiet, invisible. It left no trace in the soil, only in the genes, and even those eventually faded. But while biology may have set the trap, something else kept Denisovans from escaping it. Something even more tragic: they didn't change. They couldn't.